Camp is camp. It's tough, but it's for me to want to push myself. This is what I do, this is what I live for. I'm ready for battle. I feel like I'm getting stronger, and I feel by the time the fight comes, I'll be at peak performance.
One more. One more. Beautiful. Good. That's what we've got to bring him on to. Nobody can take them.
It's unbelievable how far and how wide sports can take you and the things that you get access to.
Anthony Joshua has officially kicked off his first day of training camp for his upcoming showdown with Jake Paul, now targeted for December 19th. With a fight confirmed, Joshua isn't wasting a single moment. He's diving straight into preparation with sharp focus and the mentality of a former heavyweight champion. Jake Paul, despite his controversial journey from YouTube fame to professional boxing, has proven he can draw huge attention. But this time, he's stepping in against a seasoned veteran with true world-class pedigree. Joshua's experience, discipline, and power present a completely different level of challenge compared to anything Jake has faced before.
Vegas, the second leg of the training camp. I'm feeling energized, I'm feeling refreshed. So yeah, come inside, have a look what's going on. Tough training, tough lifestyle, rough and tough. But listen, how else would I want it? I love it. So what am I bringing differently? I wouldn't say a new mindset, but definitely like a new perspective. But ultimately, everything new has to lead to a win. So yeah, that's what I'm focused on right now, just winning. With training camp, it's grueling, like there's no doubt about that. But you just need to have a clear mind and be optimistic and run towards challenges every day. And that's how I'm able to get through it, just the perspective I have on what suffering looks like. There's a certain standard that one has to have if they want to achieve certain things. I am working past efforts, measures that I set out for myself. Yes, it's tough. Yes, I'm tired.
Mike Coppinger has reported that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul matchup is finalized for December 2025 in Miami, set to stream live on Netflix as a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight fight. The announcement confirms that the bout will not be an exhibition or a special rules event. This will be a real contest under standard pro boxing regulations, officially recognizing both fighters as heavyweight competitors for the night.
You mentioned earlier that Anthony Joshua still didn't have an opponent for his next fight, but he was thinking of still fighting before the end of the year. And we've got some breaking news for you now, because we're hearing that AJ is in talks with Jake Paul over a deal for a heavyweight fight in Miami next month. Of course, the YouTuber Paul has already fought the former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson, and beaten him. And he's now in talks with Anthony Joshua with a view to the two of them fighting in Miami next month.
Eddie Hearn has pushed back on some of the rumors. He also confirmed the fight, stating it will be contested under full Queensberry rules, not as an exhibition. Hearn made it clear that there will be no modified rules, no oversized gloves or shorter rounds. The fighters will use standard 10-ounce competition gloves, fight the agreed number of rounds, and follow the official professional boxing framework.
Ring Magazine, Anthony Joshua, your man, and Jake Paul are finalising a deal for a December heavyweight fight in Florida. True or false?
I mean, the gun was jumped a little bit and fired early. There have been conversations. For us, we were flirting with the idea of having this little 8-round fight this year. Not with Jake Paul, by the way, because he was fighting Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, that's no.
But we were going to go on a other card somewhere. You wouldn't have really heard of the person we were going to fight. But AJ wanted to go through the motions, wrap the hands, and just gear up to what is really in the works with Turki Al-Sheikh, which is 2 fights in 2026, and that includes Tyson Fury. That's the plan for Turki Al-Sheikh. We received a phone call from Nikisa Baldirian, from MVP, who, by the way, we've spoke to a few months before talking to us about the fight, and he said, look, would you want to fight Jake Paul? And I said, listen, I don't want to just be a publicity muppet for you, you know, telling everybody that you offered the fight to Anthony Joshua. If you're serious, we can discuss the numbers, and if there's a chance for us to run out in December and, you know, take care of this bloke and get him out of the boxing world and make several tens of millions in the process, of course, we will consider it. And that's basically where we are at now.
And do the numbers stack up?
Of course, I mean, like, you know, it's difficult to have this conversation. I think sometimes you just need to...
He told Sky Sports that exhibitions aren't on the table. If Paul wants to fight, it will be a real contest at an agreed contracted weight. That said, Hearn also warned the deal isn't finalized yet. He described the odds as roughly 50-50, noting that there are still several discussions to be completed.
Extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I've got... The general feedback is the boxing world saying, please, AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua. I think that's the only reason we're going to see this fight, but I truly believe you're going to...
Hearn described Paul as audacious for taking on Joshua, a legitimate heavyweight powerhouse, highlighting the massive payday for both fighters. However, he stressed the extreme risk of pitting the inexperienced Paul against the seasoned AJ, calling it a potentially career-ending mismatch, either physically or reputationally.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But, as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world...
Eddie Hearn highlighted that Paul deliberately seeks out professional fighters to secure big money opportunities, framing it as a calculated career move.
AJ, ever so quickly, I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions, he's putting the hard spars in, he just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight, but they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah.
Simon Jordan admitted that despite his doubts about the competitive side, the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight could benefit boxing commercially. He noted it will draw massive global attention, attract millions of new viewers, and generate significant revenue for all involved. While questioning the sporting legitimacy, Jordan acknowledged that the spectacle could entertain casual fans, create headlines, and keep boxing in the mainstream conversation.
This is the entertainment business, and Anthony Joshua is an entertainer, and you can't undo the fact that he won the World Heavyweight Championship twice. And he fought in some great fights.
So why does he need this?
Because he's in the business of entertainment. And if an opportunity is presented to him and someone wants to say that we can monetize this to the huge levels that are potentially available, why wouldn't you? It's a walk in the park.
You see, you're not having Saturday night.
Because I know
many people wouldn't have this.
Well, I'm not having...
Because this isn't a proper fight where a Saturday night is.
But I don't think this is a proper... I don't think that I would ever consider having a debate about whether Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is a proper fight between two bona fide champions. I think Jake Paul is someone that's creating a lot of opportunity for himself and using sport as the anchor for it. And would I watch it? No. And do I value it? No. But when I'm asked to be confronted with a fight between two legends' sons and then get involved in all of the nonsense that...
Simon Jordan also criticized the Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. fight, saying it leaned more on nostalgia than true sporting merit. He argued the bout was marketed around their father's legendary rivalry from the 1990s rather than the fighters' own achievements. Jordan called out promoters for using history to justify a matchup that didn't make competitive sense. Ben moving up in weight and Eubank Jr. dropping down dangerously. He labeled it a cash grab rather than a legitimate contest and warned that mismatches like this, especially involving Jake Paul, risk boxer's safety and could harm Joshua's legacy if he took a similar route.
It's the kind of returns that they're going to get for the level that they've operated in their careers. And that's one of my issues around the Conor Ben Eubank fight. This fight over here with Anthony Joshua, I know what this is. No one can dress this up. This is a turd that will get polished into a huge pile of money. And if you know that from the outset,
Yeah.
so I don't have any illusions about it. Neither does anybody else. Nobody thinks that this is a real fight. Nobody thought. I mean, Spencer tried his very level best and will never try it again to convince us that Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Well, this is something similar for different reasons. Anthony Joshua is still a live heavyweight, and if he hits Jake Paul's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And some people might think that's a good thing to happen to him to learn his lesson. But he is also now fighting. He's got a fighter's license. And the question should be along the lines of what Chris Eubank Sr. was raising. Is it right? Is this appropriate that a high-performing supreme athlete like Anthony Joshua, whose only real challenges now are probably in his mind, because physically he can operate at the highest level if he still chose to, should be stepping in against someone like Jake Paul that does not have the skill set to deal with the kind of power and expertise that Anthony Joshua has? And should boxing be sanctioning this? This is the bigger question.
Oh, that's true. That is true. Having said all that, Netflix tell us 60 million households worldwide tuned in live to see Mike Tyson take on Jake Paul. Why would Jake Paul end up fighting?
Adding to the conversation, boxing legend Roy Jones weighed in on the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight, offering a cautious perspective. He emphasized that the matchup needs to make sense for Joshua not just financially, but also competitively.
I'm going to change subjects just a little bit here. And Anthony Joshua, there's rumours circulating he could be fighting Jake Paul next. One, do you think it's good for boxing? And two, do you think the fight will happen?
I think it's great for boxing. I think the fight will happen. AJ is 1-0 against these guys that come in to these boxing careers late. So why not? He's a perfect guy to take him out too. He took Ngannou out. Why would he not take Jake Paul out? And for him, he'd probably make more money fighting Jake Paul than he will fighting anybody else that he can fight right now. So why would he not do it? I mean, not that he needs the money right now anyway, but if he's going to do something, if he want to get a good win to put him back on the scene, that's a perfect.
Dave Ferrer and Spencer Oliver highlighted the growing public debate about a potential Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight. The discussions heated up after Saudi boxing figure Turki Alshik suggested the bout could get approval during a TalkSport appearance at Wembley. Alshik confirmed that Paul has verbally agreed and expressed interest in seeing Joshua decisively dominate, framing it as a legitimacy test for both fighters.